Excuse me. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
What are you? I'm Batman.
Hey guys, this is Justin at the Survivor Review, and with the Oscars being this weekend, there's a lot of buzz around Michael Keaton's great performance in Birdman, of which he is nominated for the Oscar. And I loved his performance in that, and I really hope he wins. But just with all this talk of Keaton, I just wanted to pay tribute to his performance as Batman in the 1989 film and its sequel, Batman Returns. Because out of all the live-action portrayals of Batman, his has always been my favorite, and the one that is always the one that I compare other Batman to. Now, he might not be my favorite Batman overall. That kind of has to go to Kevin Conroy in the animated series, because that's just phenomenal. That, is Batman. But when it comes to live action, so far, nobody beats Michael Keaton, or has beaten him yet. So I'll start by saying, the first film, the one I'm going to be referring to a lot in this movie will be the first Batman film, just because I'm not the biggest fan of Batman Returns. But the first Tim Burton Batman film, for those who don't know, is my favorite Batman movie, and one of my favorite movies of all time. So this is not going to be a review of the movie. This video is going to be talking about Keaton's performance. I have actually already reviewed the movie. It was the first review I did by myself. That's Tim Burton's Batman. Favorite Batman movie. Yeah, I wouldn't really recommend watching it. It's really not that good. So Keaton's Batman is great. He's a lot different than other Batmans. He's a lot more subtle, because in this movie, he's portrayed as mysterious, kind of an urban legend.
Man, listen to me. There ain't no bat.
Type of thing, and how they pull that off is perfect because he doesn't talk much. He only has a few lines here and there, and what he does is he stares at you. With Michael Keaton's eyes are just great, and that's just so intimidating, where he doesn't have to talk to do anything, he just has to stare, and that's creepy, and that's great. And when he does talk, his Batman voice is awesome. Now I'm not gonna compare it to Christian Bale's Batman voice, because we all know about that crap, but his voice, just overall, is awesome, because it's just a deeper version of his own voice, but it feels natural. And he can use the same voice and just talk about stuff.
They're looking for one product. The Joker's tainted hundreds of chemicals at the source.
And then hold a person over a ledge and be extremely intimidating.
I'm not going to kill you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
And there's even great moments where he's not even using the Batman voice and he's in the costume. And it still works. It's still intimidating. And it's just great. That's one of my favorite moments in the movie, is when he says...
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
He says that in his regular voice. And just something about it works. It's not weird. And I guess that's one thing I have to mention about the Christian Bale Batman, is there's a lot of moments where it's you don't need to be using the Batman voice right now. And Michael Keaton's Batman knows that. He knows that when he's going against the Joker, when he's finally confronting him at the end, he doesn't have to do his deep, intimidating voice, because he's not trying to intimidate the Joker. He's just trying to stop him and get revenge for killing his parents. So it works. It's so great. And the costume does help. The costume looks cool, and even though you can tell while watching the movie, it's not the best costume to move in. It's really bulky, and he can tell he's limited in his movements. But just his performance, the way he looks in it, makes you buy it. Even though you can tell that it's probably not the most practical costume to be wearing, you can still buy just the way Michael Keaton looks inside of it and the way he sells it. And that's great that Keaton's able to sell it. And he sells his character as being this urban legend type of silent type of character, which is how he is in the comics, and I think that's just perfect and spot on. His Bruce Wayne is a bit different than the comics. He's not the good-looking playboy type of character. He's a lot more subtle, again, but in my opinion, for the most part, it works. Granted, I will admit, both films, Batman and Batman Returns, never really gave him a whole lot to do as Bruce Wayne, especially in Batman Returns. I would have liked to have seen him explored a bit more. But for the most part, I really like his Bruce Wayne in that he's very unsuspecting as Batman. You watch him at these parties he's having in the first film, and especially when he's having dinner with Vicky Vale, he just seems like an average, nice guy, and he's totally unsuspecting that he's Batman. And then, moments when he's by himself, that's when kind of like his true self, his true persona comes in, and he's brooding, and you can tell the pain he's going through and what he really is like. And I really like that. There's some great moments, especially in Batman Returns, when his introductory scene in the movie, when he's just sitting, brooding, just waiting for the bat signal. He's just waiting for the action to become Batman, to become who he really is. You get the feeling that Batman really is his true persona. And I like the way he plays things subtly. There's a great scene in the first film when he's visiting the site where his parents were murdered. And it's just done just with this silence, no tears, nothing, but you still feel everything that he's feeling. And it just works. It's perfect. And there's a lot of great moments like that. There's a great scene when, granted the scene itself is a little ridiculous, but when Alfred lets Vicky Vale into the Batcave, that is ridiculous, but whatever. Aside from that, there's a great line that he has.
Look, sometimes I don't know what to think about this. It's just something I have to do.
Why?
Because nobody else can.
Right there, that's perfect. That's Batman, and he portrays that so perfectly. So yeah, he's not your typical Bruce Wayne, and I will admit I find his performance as Batman to be better than his Bruce Wayne performance, but I still feel his performance as Bruce Wayne is really strong. Granted, it's different, and yeah, again, it doesn't have a whole lot of time to develop, but for the most part, especially in the first film, you still get a great sense of his character and what he's thinking. And there's even, like, recently I didn't mention earlier, where he's trying to tell Vicky Vale that he's Batman, and he just can't do it. That's another great scene, another great performance by Michael Keaton. And just for the heck of it, I love the scene where he goes nuts.
And he had this.
Lights out! Now you want to get nuts! Come on! Let's get nuts.
Even though that's so un-Bruce Wayne-like, but it's Michael Keaton. I thought it was cool. So that's my opinion on Michael Keaton's performance and why I think he is the best live-action version of Batman that we've had so far. I feel he captured the perfect blend of the dark, brooding Bruce Wayne, where you can completely tell his internal conflict, and of a great, intimidating, scary, and awesome Batman. And that's why I think Michael Keaton still is the best Batman.